welcome to another episode of Terrific Tips for Business, or Terrific Tips for Business. I'm Terry, your host, and you can't spell terrific without Terry. So that's why it's called that. Today, we have Nefateria Fonda with us. And for those of you that don't know Nefateria, I've recently become connected to her and her amazing gifts. And so I want to share them with you so that you can know a little bit about why she's here on the show today. So Nefateria Fonda is the president of Go Get It, Inc., a certified business and sales coach, author, and speaker specializing in helping new parallel-prenuers. You know, those professionals who are building a business, a service-based business, while they're still working for somebody else. She helps them really get clear on who they serve, how they serve, and get them confident in their sales process so that they can start to get cash into their business and start to really become profitable. She believes you deserve to have the best business that you can and have a bountiful bank account along the way. Having a bountiful business doesn't mean long hours, sleepless nights, or countless sacrifices. And so Nefateria really puts her skills to good use to help you get the rest you need while getting the resources you need. Her book, How to Activate Your Faith, a commitment to a plan and take action that will change your life, is for faith-based individuals who are interested in learning how to experience the best life has to offer. She also, for groups and organizations, is a speaker, and she brings lots of contagious energy to her presentations. She loves to provide extra value and valuable content to the people that she's serving, and she really works to keep her audiences engaged. So I think you kind of get an idea of why she's on the show today. She has a lot of things that she can share with us to help us be more profitable in our businesses. Please join me in welcoming Nefateria to the show. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Terry. It's an honor to be here.
Yay! So this is a really interesting business. You've built your career on helping people who are starting out. They're doing this side hustle is what we like to call it in our culture, but you've changed the name of it. So why the Parallel-preneur? Why is that a passion for you?
So Parallel-preneur is a passion for me, and why I don't accept people that consider themselves side hustles, because the people that I work with, and why I say Parallel-preneurs, they're looking really to build a business that can leave a legacy or be something that they transition into from their full-time employment, if that's what they choose and that's how they're led by God. To me, when I think of side hustle, I think of people that are doing a skill set or a talent that they have to bring in money to pay a light bill, to gas up their car, or to pay for something, but not really looking to build a business that's sustainable, that they can have the opportunity to leap into if that's what they choose to do, or something that they can leave and pass on to their children or nieces and nephews.
Nice. So you're really working with people who want to build their legacy. They want to get out of the position that they're in and really start to build their own future. So it's not just a hobby, it's something bigger than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why is that such a passion for you? Like, why do you care?
Great question. It is a passion for me because myself personally has always been a box checker. Like, I went to school, I went to college, I served my country, I went into the Army, I got the grown up good job, if you will, as some people say, and I did all the things. And then what happened to me, I experienced having a heart attack. And when that happened, it made me really start to assess my life and what I wanted to do, and the dreams, the aspirations, the notes of ideas that I had never acted on. I had always planned to act, but never acted on my plan. And when that happened to me, I started to really assess all of the things, going back as far as I could go back, that I wanted to try or wanted to do. And I started putting those things in place. So one of the first things I did was, I always wanted to do Taekwondo or learn about martial arts. So I did that. That did not last as long as I thought it would. I did eventually get my yellow belt, but I won't be breaking any boards anytime soon. For real. The other thing that I eventually did was, I always wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. My husband is an avid Harley rider. He loves it. So I was like, this is something cool that we can share together and do together. And then I tried it, failed miserably. And then I had to check in with Neff and say, you know what? If you had a decision, especially as hot as it is now in the Carolinas, to get in a vehicle that has all doors, air conditioned, heated seats, whatever I need, right? Compared to getting on two wheels, and I have to deal with every element that God has to offer when it comes to the weather. No, that's not for me. And the one thing so the other thing was for me was to start a business. When I finished the military, I went to school to be a licensed nail tech, did that. I had dreams of opening my own nail school, had all kind of business plans when I reverted back to the notes and all of those things. And so with having all of those things, and business is what stuck with me. It's something that I grew up in. My mom, she served the country as well, and she did have a career at some point. But at some point, her and my father made the decision that she will build the businesses. And so I've been around that my entire life. And out of all the things that I went back to and said, you know what, let me see if I can really make this happen. I had been planning to do these things, planning to learn martial arts, planning to learn to ride a motorcycle and do a business. Let's see what happens. Well, the business is what stuck for me. Why I personally choose to work with Parallel-prenuers is because I believe that because when you're at work, there's a lot of people at your job that don't have your same desire. So your conversation at the water cooler is about work or about your kids or about nothing about business. So you don't have that support system. Also, when you hear things online or hear other stories, they tell you about all of the glamour. So you think, okay, I got a passion. I want the laptop lifestyle or whatever you have bought into. And then you get over here, full-time entrepreneur. There goes an earring. Full-time entrepreneur, and realize there's a lot more to this lifestyle than what you've read in an article, what you heard on a podcast, what you saw on somebody's Facebook Live. So I want to work with Parallel-prenuers, one, to give them the support that they don't have from their colleagues, their friends, because no one else is necessarily doing what they're looking to do as far as building a business, and also ensure that if they decide to take that leap of faith, that they're not scrounging and figuring it out on the way down, that they take that leap into a nice, comfortable, white puppy cloud.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for sharing that part of your story too. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, parallelpreneurs, business owners, they get into it because of a life situation, like something jars them into action, right? We don't just accidentally end up here. We're here because something's happened to us that has created the opportunity. It's created the space, either internally in our brains that says, you can do this now, you're capable, or physically the time has opened up, the space has opened up, where now all of a sudden you start to see that the need is out there, right? So I love that you've shared your story in that it was a jarring experience. You had a health situation. And that's happened to a lot of business owners. They start owning their own business because they have a health situation. They can't work full time for somebody else anymore. And they don't want to just sit at home doing nothing. Like, they're happy to collect the Social Security benefits maybe, but at the end of the day, they don't want to just sit there watching daytime TV. They feel like they were put here to do something else. And so they start to create whatever that vision is or whatever that mission is for themselves so that they can feel like their life has value. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful mission that you're on, to help them discover that value and help them find that puffy cloud to land on. That's so important.
And I want to touch on my part of the story. So even though I experienced a heart attack, I still went to work every day after I got better and all of those things. So it wasn't a position where I had a heart attack and then I'm no longer working. So now what do I do? It was more so that tomorrow is not promised, but thank God it was promised to me. Now, what am I going to do moving forward? Am I going to continue to plan and never act, or am I going to start acting on my plan? Hence, activate your faith, commit to a plan, and take action.
I love it. And that's something that's really important too, because a lot of times we all have these head dreams, or pipe dreams, we call them, because they're all these ideas and things that we want to do, and then we don't do them. So you've committed to yourself that whatever time you have been given, you're going to start to take action on some of those dreams so that they can become reality. And even if you decide that you're going to put it down afterwards because it's not for you, you've still at least tried it. And I thought that was really cool too about your story of trying it, because you just never know. Like if you try it and you decide, no, this really isn't for me, no harm, no foul. Go do something else then. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm definitely
So
about that life.
what was one of the biggest challenges that you faced when you started your own business?
Mm. Not being clear. Hence why I want to help people get clear. When I say not being clear, I also have a certification in life coaching. And when I started, I was willing to life coach anyone and everyone. And that being the case, I got any and everyone, all walks of life, all different marital status, kids, no kids, people had experienced, the death of a child, had marital issues, you name it, I came across it. And that being the case, it made me not being clear on who I wanted to serve and how I wanted to serve them made me question when people didn't want to buy the things that I offered, when they wanted to kind of Jew me on my price, when they wasn't showing up. It made me question everything. And so now, and hence why one of the things I help people do is get clear, is because if you're clear on who you serve and how you serve them, then you will produce the service that they're interested in. You will serve them in a way that they're willing to pay for it at the premium price that you're offering the service.
And that is one of the biggest challenges I think that small business owners face, especially people who are being parallelpreneurs, because it's a thought process they've never had to go through before. Mm-hmm. So what sort of questions did you have to ask yourself in order to get really clear? Because when we first start out, we do kind of want to be that person for everybody. So how did you start to get really clear on who is it that you want to serve and how you want to serve them?
So for me, a couple things. Because I'm the person that's okay with trying something. And if I decide I don't like it, it's okay. So from the life coaching, I started asking my questions. Well, let's dig in more about your story. What's the topics you really enjoy helping people? What are the topics you enjoy talking about? What are things that friends and family come to you and talk about? And they fell in 3 buckets. It was money, relationships, and business. So I didn't want to deal with people in relationships. So then I niched down, if you will, and started working with doing financial coaching, and eventually added credit repair to that. And that's what I started to do. I started to narrow it down by asking myself some questions. Okay, you said it in everyone, you got in everyone. Check in with yourself. Did you enjoy working with this type of person? Yes or no? And I'm very black and white, hence my brand colors. So it wasn't a maybe, it had to be, did you enjoy working with this issue? Did you enjoy working with this person? Yes or no? Did you enjoy this issue? This person? Yes or no? And just started to narrow it down. And then I was like, you know what? Money is my bucket. I learned how to balance a checkbook in the 4th grade. I bought my first house at the age of 25, got me and my husband completely out of debt by the age of 38. And out of debt is in no mortgage, no car notes, none of those kind of things. Let's do money. Let's be fine. Let's help people with their finances. Let's get that. Let's do that. You enjoy that. That's what people come to you for outside of business. Let's do that. So my tip for your listeners and viewers would be, if you have said, I can help everyone build their dream, and you work with a couple of everyone's, start asking yourself the question, did you enjoy that type of individual? And did you enjoy what you helped them to accomplish? To start narrowing down for yourself who it is that you want to serve. And also know that the more you work with individuals, it will become clearer and clearer and clearer. So for instance, parallelpreneur, a lot of people feel like they fall into that bucket. You got the side hustles, you got the people that work with direct sales and MLMs, you have some product-based businesses, you have some people that may have like a brick and mortar that they're doing and juggling while they're working. So a lot of people fall under that umbrella, but even under that umbrella, for me, it's people that are building a service-based business of their own. So it's not an MLM. It's not a product-based business. It's not necessarily a professional service like real estate or an attorney. It's not a brick and mortar. And you're building a premium service for a high-profile client, meaning your services probably start at minimum $500 or to $1,000. And so that's even narrowing it down even further. But some of those things, clarity comes through action, and you won't be able to narrow that down until you start working with someone. So if they are already starting out with everyone and anyone, it's okay. Just know after you can work with 2 to 3 any and everyone's, start to narrow it down and trust yourself to decide.
Clarity comes through action. That's such a good line. I wanted to highlight it again. Clarity does come through action. We have to be brave enough to take the action, to try it, and to find the things that fit us the best, that resonate with us. Because you're never going to be able to, as an individual or even as a business, service 100% of people 100% the way you want to service them 100% of the time. It just doesn't work that way. We can't be something for everybody, but we can be something for somebody. And if we can identify who that somebody is and what that something is, we're so much more fulfilled, aren't we? We feel so much more productive and happy as individuals when we do things like that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Amazing. So with this service-based business, the people that you're serving, what has been the biggest challenge that they've been facing, especially right now? Because we're kind of in a unique period here.
So one of the, not necessarily in this time, what the challenge that they're facing, but one of the things that their number one struggle is time, because they already have allocated 40 hours somewhere else. And if you add into that, you're married, you have kids, or you're the caregiver of older people or something of that nature, then your time is definitely dwindled from somebody that's full-time in the business. So time is always a big struggle for them. So hence why I make sure that they have systems in place to give them that time back. Also during this time, a lot of them are really making the decision to really think about these businesses that's been in notebooks on their computer, in their brain, and really saying, you know what, life is unpredictable. Things are unpredictable. Maybe it's time for me to start building this thing. Now, I'm not saying they should not go back to their 9 to 5 when they can or continue that, but they really need to start while they do have this time where they're not doing as much traveling and stuff like that, to really take this time and get their business set up in a way that when life is back normal, as we could say, then they already have the systems and the structure in place to start building that business.
Absolutely. This time is great because a lot of people have freed up at least an hour a day in travel time to and from an office that they don't have anymore.
Right.
So that extra time, that extra hour, what can you do with an extra hour a day? That's an extra 5 hours at the end of the week. And I know for me, Spin Frogs isn't a parallel business. It is my business. I'm 100% in it full time. But even I freed up 5 hours a week in travel time, and I launched a podcast with it. Like, that's what I did with my travel time. I just shifted all that extra time into Friday and let that be my podcast day. And yeah.
That's
so
really
if you
good.
think about, like, what can you do with that extra 5 hours in the week? And can you shift your schedule around that can give you a block of time that you can really make some massive action with? Mm-hmm. I think that's brilliant. And if you have the right tools that are in place that can help you get there, help you automate or systematize some of the things that you're doing, even better. So
Absolutely.
are there tools that you love to recommend to people to check out for what they're trying to accomplish?
So one of the things that every parallelpreneur should have is a scheduler. I personally highly recommend Acuity. That's the one that I use, but you need a scheduler. You do not need, you don't have the time to be going back and forth with people that possibly want to get on your calendar for a discovery session and trying to figure out what time, and then you don't get the message, and then, if you do get the message, then you went to respond and then send a draft and it never went. Like, you don't have time for that. Send them to your schedule. Make sure the scheduler is set up in a way that you only have time available when you actually are available, and then they pick based on your availability. So definitely Acuity for their scheduling. They got to have some type of payment system. PayPal, Stripe, Square, they got to have something to collect payments. Is another thing I say. Project management software that I recommend is Trello. And they have to have some type of email marketing system. So MailerLite, MailChimp, Aweber, constant. You got to have some way to be collecting emails. Don't just be collecting followers. I need you to get people on your list, something that you can't control.
Absolutely. Those are all great tools and great tips. I personally use Calendly, but any kind of scheduling tool is going to make it so that you can send an email when you meet somebody at a networking event asking for a one-to-one, and here's my calendar link, book a time that works for you. And it's brilliant because now you're not sending emails back and forth. There is no confusion about when they're booked or when they're not booked. I know when I first started out, there were appointments that I straight missed because I double booked myself and didn't even realize it because it got lost in my email. So those scheduling appointment tools are definitely valuable for sure.
Absolutely.
So you've been doing this for a little while now. What's been like your favorite thing like to do? What was your favorite success story or your favorite project to work
on? That's a great question. I probably would say my favorite thing is working with my clients, especially my ideal clients. It's my favorite. I love when the light bulbs go off. I love when they say, hey, Neff, I made this money today. Or, hey, Neff, can you pray for me? Or, hey, Neff, thank you for the prayer. My favorite thing really is working with my clients. That's my favorite thing. I love it. I love helping them get clear. I love helping them get their confidence. And I definitely love helping them get the cash. And I like when they like, oh, that one tip that you gave me, $1,500 more into my business. I appreciate you. Thank you. Like my clients send me gifts. So I love working with my clients. I'd be like, oh, that's so nice. Thank you. So my favorite thing to do is working with my clients.
It feels nice to feel appreciated.
Absolutely.
For
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So are there things that you do, habits that you have maybe on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis that help you stay focused and not get bogged down by the day-to-day? Because I know that's one of the challenges that a lot of the business owners I work with face is that they're in the day-to-day. So is there a habit or a tool that you use that help you kind of stay focused on your bigger picture, your bigger mission?
Yes. So a couple things. One, I do vision boards. I believe in creating a vision, making plain based off the scripture Habakkuk 2:2. So I definitely believe in you having a vision board and to help you stay focused on what your overall goal is for your business. As far as the day-to-day, you need to treat your business like a business. Even as a parallel-preneur, if you had a part-time job somewhere and you had to be at that part-time job from 6 to 9, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you will show up Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 to 9 to your part-time job. Well, I want you to show up to your business in the same manner, in the same way. So whatever office hours you set for your business, you need to show up. Don't be late. Don't be taking no extended dinner breaks. None of those things. Treat your business like you treated your job. Give it the same respect you give your job. The other thing that I would say is, as far as being focused and getting things done, use some time blocking, use the Pomodoro method, do some sprints of like 25 minutes where you're totally focused on the thing, take a 5-minute break, then jump back into that 25 minutes. Now, when you sit down to do that, there are going to be, some people call them squirrels, some things, other things that pop in your mind. Keep a post note, keep something handy where you can just jot that down so that you can get it out of your head onto paper, so you know you can refer back to it later and stay focused on the task at hand. Make sure also in your day-to-day that you're addressing all aspects of your business. And if you don't have a lot of time to address all aspects, and when I say all aspects, admin, your social media, blogging, lives, your client work, you're getting clients, and if maybe you have project or maybe some research and learning things that you do, make sure every day you're touching all of those things. But if for whatever reason there's a day that you can't touch all those things, every day you show up in your business, you need to be marketing. You need to be doing cash getting activities. You need to focus on the cash. And if you work with me, that's what we focus on. We're not playing in the pretty. We ain't focusing on what colors and what my logo should look like and what the website. Nah. Did you make a call today? Did you do a one-on-one with somebody? Did you follow up today? Did you offer somebody something that you have that you know that they need, that you provide? Do that, and then we'll talk about a logo. Period.
So true, though. And a a lot of parallelpreneurs, small business owners get hung up in the perfection of things. Like, I want it to look like blah, 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 blah. Well, it's beautiful if it looks like that, but if it's not actually that, then why are you putting gold on poo? Like, it doesn't work.
Right.
Like, focus on the process, focus on the deliverables, and the other stuff will come. The nice thing too is the other stuff becomes easier to do when you have the action, like that clarity, right? When clarity comes through action. So what colors you need to use, what the logo should be saying about you, what the website needs to say and how it needs to say it, all of that's going to come through your action. So take the action and do it, and then build the website, and then get the logo, and do those things when you have the capital resources to hire somebody who's experienced to do it for you, so that you're not having to take time away from the income producing activities, like making that phone call or like asking for that referral. Those are better time spent. So it does come down to, you really need to identify, like, what is your time worth? And is it worth your time to be doing this piece, or is it more worth your time to be doing that piece as the business owner? And when you start to realize it's probably more worth your time to do that piece, now you can say, okay, well, what does it cost me to get this piece done then? In terms of hiring somebody who knows how to do it, bringing an intern on. And remember, your time is money too. So
absolutely,
if part of what you're trying to accomplish is getting a logo design and you're playing around in Canva or whatever photo editing software you're using, and you're spending 3 or 4 or 5 hours at a time playing around with that logo, if your hourly rate is, $120 an hour, that's a lot of money to spend playing around on a logo, and you're not a photo expert. So what are you doing? Like, hire somebody who can do that for you, and they're going to spend a lot less time.
Okay, so one of the things, just like Terry was saying earlier, is that that's not a best use of your time if you're spending time, let's say, being the graphic designer, and you get, like she said, you get $120 or whatever hour, and you spent 4 hours doing that. Then that's a lot of money that you're losing. So I say, if you're going to spend 3 or 4 hours doing that, I'm saying you should spend 3 or 4 hours working on cash generating activities, marketing your business, getting new clients, making the phone calls, following up, making those connections with possible referral partners, so that you can start bringing in money and business into your money and cash into your business. So then you can outsource somebody to do the logo. You can outsource somebody to build the website, where that is their zone of genius. That's where their level of expertise is. And they're going to get it done quicker for you. Plus, all you have to do is be the brains behind the operation. I want this move. I want this to go here. I don't like this. You don't have to figure out how to make that move from here to there. So spend your time and energy in producing income. So then there's always somebody that can do the other things that you can pay for them to do it.
Absolutely. And when people are starting out, I guess one of the biggest questions is, how do I know what is income producing activities?
Okay, great question. So what I would say is income producing activities look like this: phone calls. So if you have a contact form on your website and that's how people contact you about your service, then that should produce their information. So you should be picking up the phone, saying, hello, such and such. I see that you completed this contact form on my website. Let's schedule a time, or is this a good time to discuss the service you were interested based on the form? So one, make phone calls. Networking. Terry and I met at a networking event. Networking is the long game, but I look at it as, and I like to call it shaking hands and kissing babies. But I look at it as, when you meet people at networking events, you have now just started to build your external sales force. That's how I look at it. Because now that I know Terry and Terry knows me, if she comes in contact with somebody that needs what I have, and if I come in contact with somebody that needs what she has, I automatically say, I know somebody, let me connect you. She's going to say, oh, I know somebody, let me connect you. Right? And that's just what we do.
And we have. Yeah. Like, absolutely. It was really cool that we met at a networking event. We had a conversation, got to know each other a little bit. And then I had a friend, like a week later, post looking for somebody who does vision boards. And I was like, Nefateria, you need Nefateria.
Absolutely. Right. So
Because you're top of mind. So it helps to, like, networking is great, but you do have to build that relationship. You're not going to meet somebody, spend 60 seconds with them, and now all of a sudden they're passing you business. There is that additional step of schedule that conversation, get to know each other a little bit. Because when you get to know each other a little bit, now you're more top of mind. And don't do it
yes,
once, do it a
I,
couple of times.
right,
Because I know a lot
yes,
of people do networking and then they'll have one conversation and then they won't talk to the person again other than, hey, how's it going? Life's good. Like, pass fair weather passerbys for like a year. And then they're like, it's been a year since we last like sat down. We should do it again. You probably should have done it like 6 months ago,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Like once every 3 to 6 months is probably a good time to sit down with your strategic partners, especially. If you're not meeting your strategic partners once a month, you need to be sitting down with them at least once a quarter.
Yes, I'm in agreement with her. It is definitely a relationship building situation, and I'm all about a plan. So yes, what Terry said is absolutely correct. You go to a networking event, you have an opportunity, you meet somebody, you want to learn more about them personally as well as professionally. You schedule the one-on-one with them, but then you need to track that some way. You need to say, okay, me and Terry talked in May. Okay, so these are the things that I said that I could assist her with. These are the things she said she can assist me with. Okay, so now I'm going to be on our podcast in July. Okay, now I need to be checking back in with her just to see how everything's going. Is there any way I can support her, like you said, in the next 30, 60, 90 days? But that only happens if you got a plan for it. So just don't be networking all willy-nilly. Like, have a plan. Know, like she said, know who your strategic partners are, and then start building the relationships with those individuals that make sense.
So
But
what makes a strategic partner?
for what makes a strategic partner for me is if we have similar audiences, or if services that they provide or I provide is a service that our audiences would need. So maybe I'm step one, but you're step two, or vice versa. So, for instance, one of the things that most parallelpreneurs do is they want to get a website built. So, a good strategic partner for me would be somebody that do websites, because they're going to do websites, but some things that they're going to ask you for is the copy for the website. And if you're not clear on who you serve and how you serve them, if you're not, and you don't know how to sell, you're not going to give them the right words. You're not going to have all that they need. Right or wrong, that's the first person you want to hire as a website developer. But they're not helping you determine who your target audience is. They're not helping you with how to write a sales page. That's not what they do, in my experience. They're saying, okay, I'm on your sales page. Can you send me over the words? Can you send me over the pictures? Can you send me over this? So for me, strategic partners, people that do websites, people that do, professional headshots or brand photos, stuff like that. Those are strategic partners because they're dealing with business owners. And those are things that business owners need and get. And at some point they say, okay, you know what? I'm tired of doing this on my own. I'm ready to hire a coach. That's where I come in. Or they got a website and they're not getting the traction that they need, and they need assistance with SEO or Google Analytics. I was like, oh, I know somebody, Terry. Right?
Yeah,
Is that
and
right?
that's a great way to think about it. And I love teaching people when it comes to networking how to identify who a strategic partner is,
Mm-hmm.
because it's easy to walk into a room and develop friendships with everybody that's in that room. And then you get confused about who is a good referral partner. And so you want to look at your room and say, who are two people I can help and who are two people who can help me? So who are two people that come before me in my sales process that could be good referral partners for me? They're
Right.
helping me. And who are two people that come after me in the sales process that I can pass referrals to? If you can find a room that has those four people, because it's four people, if you can find a room that has those four people, it's probably going to be a room that's going to add a lot of stable, steady, and consistent growth for you and your business, because you have those four relationships. And you can have conversations with those four people every week, because you can talk to one person each week. So you're touching each one of your strategic partners every month. And now you're not overtaxing your time, and you're being very diligent about where you're going, why you're going there, and who you're trying to connect with and what you're trying to connect with them for when you're there. So it's so good. I'm glad. See, I knew we were on the same page when it came to working.
Yes.
I love it. And so right now, networking is happening virtually. So how does that fit in? Like, how does that work?
So for me, it works the same. And look, look on Eventbrite or look on Facebook or look wherever you think that events are posted and find virtual networking events. I personally host a networking event the first Tuesday of every month for Parallel-prenuers. It happens at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so you go and look for those things. So similar to when you was networking offline, you would go to Eventbrite or go wherever or ask your friends, do you know about any upcoming networking events? And based on your schedule, then you will put it in your schedule to attend those events. To me, the same thing happens virtually. I do think don't just network to check it off. Be very strategic. You need to know going in when you're listening to those 30 seconds, like you said, know two people that come before you, know two people that come after you. And when you're listening to those 30 seconds, only jot down or make an additional connection to the people that make sense. Don't, if you went to a network and it's 20 people, don't be trying to connect with all me. I'm not trying to connect with 20. I'm listening. And if it's one or two, that's who I connect with. And to me, that still was a good networking. There's two more people that I don't know. And now they could possibly be strategic partners or just good support system.
Exactly. And when you do that, you're having deeper, better conversations with those two people instead of trying to have really light, easy conversations with everybody that's there. And sure, you might hear somebody else is looking for a plumber and maybe you know who a plumber is. So sure, I mean, pass the referral because you have the contact, but don't be going out of your way to try and open up your address book to everybody who's in the room that you've never met before and you don't know what they're looking for that person for.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Are there any other tidbits, nuggets, or stories that you want to share with our audience today?
Every day that you show up to your business, you need a market. Don't ever stop marketing. Always be marketing. They say always be selling. I'm going to say always be marketing. Not saying that you shouldn't be selling, but you definitely should always be marketing. And I think that's something that gets lost in the sauce. And if you're anything like me, put a plan around it. Really sit down, spend some time, take a certain day of every month or a certain week about every month, and you plan, okay, this is the marketing I'm doing. These are the social media posts I'm going to be doing. These are the phone calls that I'm going to make. These are the follow-ups I'm going to do. Have some type of system in place. You know, if you're looking to be on more Facebook Live shows or pitch podcasts or whatever, put it in a plan. This day, my cash getting after I'm a pitch podcast. And how many I can get pitched in this hour is what I'm going to do. Tuesday, I'm going to do follow-up. Whatever it looks like for you. This week, I'm going to go to at least one networking event every week. That makes sense. That fits my schedule. Make sure every day you show up your business that you're marketing, that you're working on the cash producing activities. Because at the end of the day, if you ain't making money, you don't got no business.
That's right. If you're not making money, it's just a hobby.
That's it. And it can be an expensive hobby. And you don't want that.
It really can be. Nefateria, this has been amazing. You're such a delight to talk to. You have awesome tips for our business owners, our solopreneurs, our parallelpreneurs who are out there trying to figure out what does that next step look like for them. And so you're such a great resource. What's going to be the best way for them to get in touch with you when they hear this podcast and they're like, I need a vision board? Or I need an accountability partner.
So they can go to bit.ly/book with Nef. On there, they can see when the next vision board experience is available. They can book a discovery session and apply to have a conversation with me to see if we're a good fit. They can also register for the networking event. So bit.ly/book with Nef. You can find out all things going on with Nef. And then you can also follow me on social media at Nefateria Fonda everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. I've really enjoyed our time together. I wish we had a little bit more time together, but I want to respect your and our listeners' time. So for those of you that are listening, definitely connect with Nefateria. She's got some great resources available, and she's just a wealth of knowledge. If you didn't catch that in this conversation, you want to know her. So thank you for being with us today, and I look forward to talking with you more soon.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been an honor. I appreciate you.